The woman refused to stand in line just to buy some tofu. Because of that, the tofu seller declined to sell her any. Even after she flashed a thick stack of cash, the vendor still refused to make the sale. Enraged, the woman flipped over the tofu stand. She even assaulted the tofu seller. Just then, the vendor's daughter-in-law hurried back. She immediately pulled out her phone to report the incident to the police. To everyone's astonishment, the woman ordered her bodyguards to crush the daughter-in-law's hand. That reckless decision would soon become her greatest regret, because the vendor's daughter-in-law was a world-famous pediatric specialist. One day earlier, the woman's husband had knelt in the pouring rain with their daughter for 3 days and 3 nights. He did it only to beg Dr. Su to operate on their child. She was the only doctor capable of treating the illness. The woman scolded her husband, saying that a billionaire CEO kneeling in public to plead with the doctor was disgraceful. She insisted that as long as they offered enough money, Dr. Su could simply be persuaded to perform the surgery. The man understood perfectly well that Dr. Su possessed exceptional medical skills, but more importantly, she treated every patient with fairness. The only way to earn her help was through genuine sincerity. After hearing from her assistant that someone had been kneeling outside the hospital with a child, begging for treatment, Dr. Su immediately left the award ceremony and rushed over. Seeing a father willing to humble himself for the sake of his daughter, Dr. Su agreed to perform the surgery 3 days later. Afraid Dr. Su might change her mind, the CEO handed over his daughter's bracelet as a symbol of their agreement. 3 days later, Dr. Su arrived in Shanghai together with her surgical team. Before heading into the operating room, she planned to visit her father-in-law first. Only 1 month earlier, her husband had lost his life in a car accident. Her father-in-law was now the only family member living at home. At the same time, the woman heard her daughter say she was craving tofu. She brought several bodyguards to the market to buy the finest tofu available. What she never realized was that the tofu seller happened to be Dr. Su's father-in-law. Every day, a long line formed in front of the tofu stall. The woman proudly refused to wait her turn. She bragged that she had never stood in line her entire life. She claimed people had always given her whatever she wanted. The vendor insisted that everyone must be treated equally and told her to join the line. Otherwise, he would not sell her any tofu. The woman pulled out a thick bundle of cash and tossed it at the vendor. She declared that she had no intention of waiting in line and would still be taking the tofu. The vendor calmly picked the money up from the ground and returned it to her. He explained that he would never abandon the principle of fairness. In a burst of anger, the woman wrecked the tofu stand. At that very moment, Dr. Su was on her way to her father-in-law's tofu stall. She called several times, but no one answered. She had no idea that her father-in-law was being harassed by the woman. The people nearby condemned the woman's outrageous behavior. They said her arrogance and bullying would eventually come back to haunt her. Instead of stopping, the woman became even more aggressive toward the stall. Her bodyguards smashed every block of tofu onto the ground. Even the framed photos of the vendor's son and daughter-in-law were knocked to the floor. After one of the bodyguards picked up the photos and wiped away the dirt, he realized the vendor's daughter-in-law was actually a doctor. The woman sneered that she was probably nothing more than a rural physician, but when she looked at the name on the ID badge, she noticed it matched the name of her daughter's attending doctor. By then, Dr. Su had already reached the entrance to the market. She called her assistant to get everything ready for the operation. She planned to return to the hospital within half an hour to perform the surgery. Just as the woman was wondering whether the doctor in the photo was truly Dr. Su, the vendor demanded that she give the picture back. He also told her it was a photo of his daughter. The woman refused to believe that a nationally renowned pediatrician could be the daughter of a humble tofu vendor. When the vendor said he would take her to court, she arrogantly declared that her husband was a billionaire CEO. She insisted that no one would dare challenge her. Only then did everyone realize she was the CEO's wife. Everyone knew that the CEO had once knelt outside the hospital, begging Dr. Su to save his daughter. Now that the woman had offended Dr. Su's family, if the CEO learned what had happened, he would surely divorce her. The woman insisted that Dr. Su had already agreed to operate on her daughter, so she refused to believe that the vendor's daughter-in-law was really Dr. Su. She tossed a coin into the boiling oil and ordered the vendor to reach in and retrieve it. The crowd angrily condemned her cruelty after witnessing what she had done, but the woman went even further and tried to force the vendor's hand into the scorching oil. At the last possible second, Dr. Su arrived and stopped her.